They say a man is strongest when he has nothing left to lose. But when single dad and night shift janitor Ethan Cole was fired on the very last night he could afford to lose anything, the universe didn't give him darkness. It sent 3 helicopters thundering down from the sky, shaking the parking lot beneath his feet as voices screamed through loudspeakers. "Ethan Cole! We need you! Now!" He didn't know it then, but that night would change his life, his son's future, and the fate of hundreds of strangers forever. This isn't the story of a man who had nothing. It's the story of a man who had one thing left, and nearly lost it. Ethan Cole had never been the type of man to complain. He was a quiet, callous-handed janitor who wore the same faded navy shirt every night, the one with his name stitched above the heart. He had taken the job 4 years ago, right after his wife, Lila, passed away during childbirth, leaving him alone with a newborn son and a mountain of medical bills. The world expected him to fall apart, but Ethan didn't. He worked nights, slept in shifts, learned how to braid baby hair using YouTube videos, and promised tiny Noah he would never grow up feeling alone. But promises didn't pay rent. Not when the rent kept going up. On this particular night, his last shift, Ethan moved slowly down the long, echoing corridor of the factory, pushing a squeaky mop bucket he had repaired with duct tape. He knew something was wrong the moment he arrived. Supervisors huddled in corners, whispering. Papers were being carried out. Laptops shut down early. The factory was closing. And when his supervisor, Mr. Dawson, handed him a thin envelope, Ethan already knew what it meant. "I'm sorry, Ethan. Budget cuts. Tonight is your last shift." Ethan swallowed. "I have a son. I can't." "I know," Dawson whispered, looking ashamed. "You're the last one I wanted to cut." He stood alone in the dim warehouse, the machines around him humming like they knew he wouldn't be back. He clenched the envelope, his palms sweating, his heart pounding against the ribs that held too many unspoken fears. He worried about Noah's asthma medication, school supplies, the overdue electricity bill. He worked the rest of the shift in silence. Slow, heavy, almost reverent, like he was cleaning the remains of a life that had slipped away. At 4:57 a.m., with only 3 minutes left on his final shift, Ethan clocked out for the last time. He stepped into the cold dawn, his breath fogging before him, the parking lot stretching empty under gray skies. He pulled out his phone, no messages. No miracles. He lifted Noah's crayon drawing from his pocket, the one of Daddy saving the day. Ethan exhaled a broken laugh. "Not today, buddy." But destiny didn't wait politely. The ground shook. The air roared. And 3 enormous helicopters burst through the morning fog, floodlights blasting the parking lot like a scene from a movie. Ethan froze as armed men leaned up the side, shouting through megaphones. "Ethan Cole! We need you immediately!" He stepped back, hard hammering. What do you want from me?" he called out. The biggest helicopter landed hard enough to rattle a nearby lamppost. From it stepped a woman in a sharp black jacket, hair whipping wildly in the wind. She walked straight toward him, eyes fierce and focused. "Ethan Cole," she said, stopping inches away. "You're the only one who can help us." And before he could decide whether to run or wake up from this apparent dream, she added words that turned his world upside down. "Your son's life depends on it." Everyone thought Ethan Cole was just a janitor. But the world was about to learn the truth. He was much, much more. Ethan's breath caught. "My son! Noah? What happened? Where is he?" The woman raised her hands in a calming gesture, though her eyes stayed razor-sharp. "He's safe, for now. But he's in danger because of something you've been hiding." Ethan blinked. "Hiding? I'm a janitor." She stepped closer. "No. Your former military communications, top-tier decoding specialist. You walked away after your wife died. We lost you, but now we need you back." Ethan flinched as if punched. He'd buried that past. Burying it was how he survived. How he kept Noah safe. "What does this have to do with my son?" The woman nodded to the helicopter. An encrypted broadcast went out tonight, a signal only you'd recognize. It came from people who should be dead. And they named one target, Noah Cole, your son. Ethan felt the world narrow, his breath disappear. No, that's impossible. He's just a child. He's leverage, she said softly. Against you. Ethan stared at the ground, memories he'd forced down for years rising like ghosts from the dust. Codes. Missions. Secrets that never should have been exposed. But then, another sound broke through. A soft, sleepy voice. Daddy? Ethan spun toward the helicopter. There, bundled in a blanket, tiny eyes half open, sat Noah, alive. Safe. Reaching out. Ethan ran to him, swept him into his arms, holding him like the universe itself would shatter if he let go. You okay, buddy? You okay? Noah nodded against his neck. They said you're a hero? Ethan choked. No. I'm just your dad. No, the woman said from behind him. You're the only man who can stop what's coming. Ethan turned slowly. And if I refuse? She met his gaze steadily. Then hundreds of families could lose everything. Just like you almost did. Ethan looked down at Noah, his whole world, wrapped in small arms. He thought of the factory, the pink slip, the years of hiding, pretending to be smaller than he was so no one could take what he loved again. Maybe some men run from their past. But some rise because of it. Ethan exhaled, steady and resolute. All right, he said. Tell me what you need. The woman's shoulders relaxed with relief. We need you to finish the mission you started years ago. And as the sun finally broke the horizon, orange and gold spilling across the sky, Ethan Cole stepped aboard the helicopter with his son, no longer a fire janitor but a man reborn into the life he once left behind. A man ready to fight. Ready to protect. Ready to save lives. Because for the first time in years, the world needed him again.